Now, children with congenital heart diseases in Kenya continue to face challenges in accessing treatment owing to lack of specialized equipment and medical personnel for early diagnosis and treatment. This is further compounded by the lack of adequate facilities with the capacity to care for children with congenital heart conditions, despite a spike in the number of new cases. Tonight, Caroline Kamau focuses on the painful struggles of a family who lost their child to an undiagnosed congenital heart disease, only to be confronted with the exact situation years later after the birth of their second child.
Bridget Courgette and her husband have lived through what can only be described as every parent's fear, that of losing a child. Beatrice lost her daughter 11 years ago when she was only 5 months old. She died from what her parents would later discover was a congenital heart disease. In 2015, 4 years after the death of her daughter, she gave birth to her son, Allen.
So hiyo siku ya delivery, Allen nilipoletewa after kusober up from drugs, Allen nilinotice ni kakona dark lips, he's cyanosed somehow. But madaktari wenye walimreceive, the pediatricians wenye walireceive Allen that time, wali brush it off wakaniambia it's just the fear because nilikuwa nimelose another kid with the same condition.
When she returned to hospital for Allen's postnatal clinic, her child had added very little weight, a few grams from the initial delivery weight of 3.8 kilograms, which she thought was odd. When he was immunized, Allen would develop a sepsis on his foot.
So tukampeleka MTRH wakasema watamtolea kwa theater through a full anesthesia. Akapelekwa na sasa that day ndio after hiyo kutolewa hiyo abscess, daktari akatuambia he was not happy with how he was saturating. Akatu advise for seeking a cardiologist.
He would then be diagnosed with pulmonary atresia and tricuspid atresia.
Tricuspid atresia is where the valve in the right side of the heart did not form at creation. These valves connecting the two chambers on each side are very crucial and critical for the normal movement of blood through the heart. Occasionally, some children have that misfortune of having one of the valves not forming. The valve which takes blood to the lungs is called pulmonary valve. When it didn't form at creation, we call it pulmonary atresia.
This is a rare and complex congenital heart disease, which occurs in about one child in every 1,000 births.
When a baby is born with these very serious challenges, then we have to do that shunt early. If they present early, we take a vessel that is branching from the aorta. We put a graft to connect it to the lungs. So that will enable blood to reach the lungs. And once the blood is in the lungs, it gets its oxygen and comes back now to the left side of the heart.
Symptoms of congenital heart disease include bluish tone to a baby's skin and lips, fatigue or feeling constantly tired, heart murmurs, poor blood circulation, rapid breathing, shortness of breath. Congenital heart disease occurs sporadically. However, in a family where there is an occurrence of the disease, there's a 4% chance of a similar occurrence in the family lineage. This theory rings true to Bridget's family, as they once again find themselves in a similar position. At 5 months old, Allen underwent the first surgery, with the second one scheduled for 8 years later.
At the time we saw Allen, so he was past the stage of that earlier surgery. So we were able to do something called bidirectional Glenn shunt. And without going into too much technicality, it allows more blood to go to the lungs, and therefore the child gets more oxygen.
His parents had years of reprieve until suddenly Allen's health started to decline.
Kwa review ya Oktoba, daktari akaona kwamba kwa miaka 2 hajaongeza kilo na oxygen yake concentration imeenda chini. So ikabidi immediately akaturifa kwa hospitali yenye iko India, kwa sababu hakuna haijaifanywa hiyo that particular surgery haiko imefanywa Kenya. So tukarifaiwa India, tukapewa quotation, tukaanza kufanya mchango. Muda unayoyoma, pesa ijai. Sasa
to their biggest relief, a local cardiologist said they would attempt to do the surgery in Kenya.
Na Profesa Shoski sasa akakuja akateam up na hawa Gertrudes wakafanya hiyo surgery na ikakuwa successful. Tangu March ameongeza more than 2 kgs. Saizi anaweza fanya vitu mingi zenye hakuwa anaweza kufanya.
Dr. Lois Mutai, who was among the team that handled Alan's case at the Gertrudes Hospital, the first of its kind in the country, however says gaps in the health system are jeopardizing chances of many other children having access to treatment to live a normal life.
We shouldn't have to see a child for the first time at age 3, age 10, and they have a congenital heart disease. We should be able to pick that from early. Early means the first year, the first few weeks for those who have severe congenital heart disease. We are looking forward to a time when this echo by skilled personnel will be available at every county referral hospital. If that happens, I'm telling you, the pick rate will be higher. Then the burden will be, how do we treat these patients, because we've picked them.
As for Alan and his parents, they are happy that their son was given a second shot at life and they have a chance to watch him grow. Caroline Kamau for Sunday Express.